I also came here with a heavy heart knowing that my dear friend Lou Alvarez passed away. I'll leave here, I'll go home and I'll cry, and I'll spend some time mourning the loss of my friend. I'll spend time remembering Walter Malone, knowing that I'm going to help their family. This is every day for us at the Feel Good Foundation. We're on the front lines of the 9/11 community. We are the 9/11 community, and we're advocating for tens of thousands of people that are sick and dying or who have died.
Without this true team effort, crime reduction that we are experiencing would not be possible. As the county executive stated, crime in Suffolk County is the lowest it has ever been.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have made commitments, we have made promises, and we are going to deliver that to the taxpayers by putting them first. But you know what? This is about you, ladies and gentlemen, watching TV. This is about the taxpayers. This is about a government that works together and does great things. And I pledge that with all of my colleagues, both Republicans and Councilwoman Gooseby. We're all going to work together.
It is doing work that I believe will improve the quality of life for thousands and thousands of people. And I believe this work will actually save lives.
Last year we launched the Suffolk School Recycling Program here with a few other schools around the county to announce the incredible results from these students. And basically we recycled 35 tons of paper. These students have shown that kids can really lead the way when it comes to protecting our environment.
We love it because it's great for our brand here on Long Island. There are so many jobs that are dependent on healthcare. It's the most growing sector, economic sector, job sector in our state, and we are on the cutting edge of that.
How does it feel turning 100, Lippy?
Nothing exciting.
He never says no. He never says no, neither to the kids. Ask my daughter. The mother yells no, but not the father.
A lot of good things happened in these two games, which typically when you're going to beat the Red Sox, you got to do a lot of things well, and I thought we did.
My feeling last year was I lost 3 matches in a row before I came here, so I just wanted to get one match, and then it just kept building on from that. As opposed to this year, I went 2 quarterfinals back-to-back, and I feel very confident about how I am right now.
I would definitely still be playing if I had already passed it, but I've had so many chances to pass it and to have a lot more.
My neighbor texted me, something happened, make sure you lock all your doors and put your alarm on.
A quiet residential area in Merrick turned into a crime scene last night when there was a murder on Elliott Street.
A beautiful, quiet neighborhood. We don't lock our doors, not even at night. I mean, we walk the streets at night, we're outside, we're hanging out. This is scary.
Nassau County Police have confirmed that a 32-year-old man was stabbed to death in his home.
We're horrified. We're horrified.
This homicide does not appear to be random by any means.
This incident happened just before midnight on Saturday night. According to police, the people knew each other.
There were multiple areas of this residence where the struggle did ensue, and that this individual had defensive wounds to his hands and his arms.
Neighbors say they woke up to cops knocking at their door, searching for anyone who may have had surveillance video of the nearby area.
You didn't hear anything, and all of a sudden there's this rap on the door at 12:15 last night, and you sit up and you go, what happened? Right? And then there's a police officer at your door, and I'm like, where are my children?
Neighbors know the family who live in the home located at the end of the dead-end street and remembered their children playing together years ago.
You would never expect something like this to happen in our area. It's just very sad, and I hope that whoever did this is apprehended as quickly as possible.
No one is in custody at this point, and police are asking anyone with information to call Nassau County Crime Stoppers. And the number there is 1-800-244-TIPS.
We are conducting a very, very complex, intense investigation. We'll be checking video, we're interviewing neighbors.
Reporting in Merrick, Krista McNally, Fios 1 News.
By this time next week, the PGA Championship in Farmingdale will be in full swing. Fios 1 Sports Director Justin Walters went one-on-one with one of the local pros who will be competing.
Playing in a major golf tournament is considered a huge deal for local club professionals. Long Island's Jason Caron is one of 20 club pros competing in next week's PGA Championship. Just like his first major 17 years ago, this one will also be played at Bethpage, which is now considered home. Jason Caron is back on golf's biggest stage.
Unbelievably excited, to be able to stay at home in my own bed and play Bethpage Black again in a major championship is going to be special.
The last time Jason played at Bethpage in a major was the 2002 U.S. Open Championship. Caron finished tied for 30th in that tournament, won by Tiger Woods. 17 years later, Caron will return to Farmingdale for the PGA Championship, but now as a club professional at Mill River Club in Oyster Bay.
Can you imagine now it's your second major and they're both at Bethpage? And I'm like, yeah, hey, you'll take any time you get to play in a major.
The biggest difference between Jason's first and second major is the size of his family. His 2 daughters and his wife, Liz, will all get to see him play next week.
I got a 6- and a 2.5-year-old. So Caroline got to see mommy play, my wife Liz, at Westchester. Julia being 2.5. She probably won't remember it as much, but it's still going to be great to see them out there.
It still hasn't hit Jason quite yet that he's playing in a major in the backyard in front of his family and friends.
Can't beat that.
His approach for Bethpage.
Just try to stay loose, try not to put any pressure on what I need to get accomplished, and just like I said, try to stay in the moment and have a good time.
Day 1 of the 101st PGA Championship tees off on Thursday. It's Jason Caron's first time playing in this specific major, but he's no stranger to the course. Caron has golfed at Bethpage close to 25 times. In Oyster Bay, Justin Walters, Fios 1 Sports.
A Brentwood man's mail delivery was halted because of something in the Halloween display outside his home. Fios 1's Cecilia Dowd has the story.
Richard Beatty's letter carrier came to the door Tuesday with more than the mail. He had a message.
He says that this is very offensive.
This being this noose, part of Beatty's Halloween display outside his Brentwood home.
And I said, well, I don't understand why. And I said, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not going to take the stuff down.
The postal worker is black, and so is the postmaster, who came to the door the next day, Beatty says, to tell him he was suspending mail delivery to his home. Beatty had to pick up his mail Wednesday, but did receive mail Thursday and Friday, which wasn't delivered by his regular carrier.
The Postal Service does give its carriers discretion in the cases of personal and physical safety to make a decision about affecting delivery.
Maureen Marion is the manager of corporate communications for the Postal Service in the New England and New York area. Was his postal worker saying that he did not feel safe because of the news?
That was the issue. The noose. And let's be clear, it was just a noose.
The skeleton was not there when the postal worker talked to Beatty. It was a lone noose. Beatty says depending on the weather, he takes down the skeleton. Beatty says the noose has been part of his Halloween display for several years, and he's never had a complaint before. The noose is a symbol of racism, and is particularly anti-African Americans because of the history of lynching. It's associated with the Ku Klux Klan. What do you say to that?
I understand that, and I feel for them, and but that's not what this is about. It's not bringing up the past. It's not about offending anybody or things that happened in the past. I mean, white people were hung, witches were hung, but that was back in the 1800s, early 1900s. So it's not associated with that. All it is a Halloween decoration.
Beatty says it's not meant to be offensive and says people should just enjoy the holiday. Meanwhile, the Postal Service says it will attempt mail delivery every day and will assess conditions on a day-to-day basis. Reporting from Brentwood, Cecilia Dowd, Fios 1 News.
Not many could have predicted the Brooklyn Nets would look like this 2 years ago after making the playoffs for the first time in 4 years last spring. This team now features Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. The group spoke today about their expectations for the upcoming season and if Durant will play at all. These aren't the Brooklyn Nets of old. There's a lot more firepower.
4:16 in the morning, the night of free agency, or the date in that morning of free agency, we still had no idea what we were doing.
I was like, okay, cool, we're going to Brooklyn. I'll get on a flight tomorrow. We sat down and talked about it and what basketball meant to us as a whole, and You know, I think this is the perfect spot for us to hone our skills and continue to keep growing.
There's a new big three in the NBA. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan were all officially introduced as member of the Nets at Media Day Friday. Durant is not expected to play this season due to a torn right Achilles suffered in the NBA Finals.
I felt like it was a time for a change, and I wanted to play for a new team, and simply put, I just did it.
Durant will ultimately have the final say on if or when he plays this season, and Irving plans on making sure no one pressures the two-time NBA Finals MVP to return early.
We all know K was not ready to play in that environment. We all know that, whether people want to admit it or not. He was out 31 days, and we put him on a national stage on the finals to end up selling a product that came before the person Kevin, and now I'm here to protect that.
The Brooklyn Nets tip off their preseason next week. A few of those exhibition games we played in China, including their match against the LA Lakers on October 10th. In Brooklyn, Justin Walters, Fios 1 Sports.